Who doesn't like to witness the awe-inspiring beauty of nature, its serene landscapes and flourishing wildlife? From captivating wildlife parks to pristine beaches with crystal-clear waters, we find solace in these moments of harmony. Yet nature's fury can ignite with a fiery vengeance. Brace yourselves for these heart-stopping encounters caught on camera as Mother Nature unveils her wrath. Prepare for the unexpected as we delve into 20 chilling moments that left us baffled. Number 20. Devastating flood hits Pakistan. In June 2022, Pakistan was hit by devastating floods that lasted until October, causing widespread destruction and loss of life. The floods were triggered by heavier than usual monsoon rains and the melting of glaciers, both of which were linked to climate change. The provinces of Sindh and Balochistan received significantly more rainfall than average, leading to massive flooding in these areas. The Indian Ocean's rising temperatures also contributed to the increased monsoon rainfall. The impact of the floods was catastrophic. A total of 1,739 people lost their lives, including 647 children, and over 12,000 people were injured. More than 2 million individuals were left homeless, making it one of the deadliest floods in the country's history. The floods affected approximately 10 to 12% of Pakistan's territory, with floodwaters drowning an area of about 32,800 square miles. The destruction caused by the floods was extensive. Nearly 900,000 houses were destroyed, and another 1.4 million were damaged. Agricultural fields were devastated, leading to significant losses in the agricultural sector. The floods also took a toll on infrastructure, with over 13,000 kilometers of roads and 439 bridges being damaged. The economic losses were staggering, estimated at around $15.2 billion, and the overall damage and reconstruction costs exceeded $30 billion. The floods had a severe impact on the country's economy, equivalent to approximately 10% of its gross domestic product. In addition to the immediate impact, the floods also had long-term consequences. The lack of clean drinking water resulted in an increase in waterborne diseases such as diarrhea, cholera, dengue, and malaria. Skin infections caused by wet conditions were also widespread. Pakistan's provinces of Sindh, Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Gilgit-Baltistan, Punjab, and Azad Kashmir were severely affected by floods, resulting in loss of life, displacement, and infrastructure damage. The Prime Minister led relief efforts, securing $500 million in international aid. Pakistan's own entities, including the army, cabinet members, and telecom providers, made significant contributions. International organizations and countries also offered assistance. The floods emphasized the issue of climate change, with Pakistan's climate minister calling for compensation from wealthy nations. These catastrophic floods are proof that messing with Mother Nature will have deadly consequences. Number 19. Mount Ontake eruption. In a shocking turn of events on September 27, 2014, Mount Ontake, a picturesque volcano nestled in the heart of Japan's Honshu Island, unleashed a devastating eruption, claiming the lives of 63 individuals. This catastrophe marked the first fatal volcanic eruption in Japan since Mount Unzen's eruption in 1991 and stands as the nation's deadliest volcanic disaster since the Torishima eruption, which claimed approximately 140 lives. The eruption took place without any significant earthquakes to serve as warning signs, catching authorities off guard. At 11:52 Japan Standard Time, a sudden phreatic eruption occurred, triggered by the rapid conversion of groundwater into steam, resulting in a hydrothermal explosion. Mount Ontake, known for its popularity among hikers due to its relative safety and stunning landscapes, attracted several hundred visitors that fateful day, taking advantage of the favorable weather conditions. After the eruption, search and rescue operations promptly commenced. Police tirelessly scoured the mountain, initially reporting 3 missing individuals buried beneath the ash. The number of buried and missing people rose, amplifying the urgency of the rescue efforts. Despite challenges posed by volcanic ash and toxic gas, search teams persisted, locating more bodies in unexplored areas. Typhoon Fanfone briefly rendered the mountain inaccessible, further hampering the recovery efforts. Months later, in January 2017, the bereaved families of 5 victims filed a lawsuit against the country and Nagano Prefecture, seeking damages amounting to 150 million yen. They contended that the warning level should have been raised before the eruption, holding authorities accountable for their failure to anticipate the disaster. In response, the government argued that the warning level was not escalated despite slightly elevated earthquake levels, as it relied on comprehensive data and historical volcanic activity. Number 18. Sudden waterspout. In a breathtaking display of Mother Nature's power, a colossal waterspout swept through the Gulf of Mexico off the coast of Destin, Florida, leaving residents in awe and sending shivers down their spines. Caught on camera during the morning rush, this mesmerizing weather phenomenon showcased the sheer force and unpredictability of nature. Waterspouts are whirling columns of air and water mist, typically forming when cumulus clouds rapidly grow. But this was no ordinary waterspout. Emerging from dark gray clouds and surrounded by crackling lightning, this monstrous funnel reached immense heights, resembling a tornado over water. It was a sight that captured the attention of Boo Freeman and many others who stood on an empty beach, transfixed by the spectacle before them. Experts from AccuWeather confirmed that this waterspout was not your run-of-the-mill occurrence. It was a legitimate tornado generated by a powerful supercell thunderstorm, making it even more awe-inspiring. Weather data revealed that a strong thunderstorm near the shoreline triggered this remarkable event, as it gracefully moved southeast across the Gulf. Recognizing the potential danger, the National Weather Service promptly issued a special marine warning, cautioning boaters and swimmers to stay out of harm's way. This was not the first waterspout to grace Florida's panhandle this summer, but each occurrence remains a fascinating enigma. Experts lack sufficient data to ascertain their frequency or predictability accurately. However, recent events have demonstrated that waterspouts can turn destructive. Just weeks ago, one ravaged Smith Island in Maryland, demolishing houses and causing injuries. The aftermath left the community stunned, with homes reduced to rubble and debris scattered in the wake of nature's wrath. While these occurrences serve as a reminder of nature's volatile temperament, they also elicit a profound sense of respect. The immense power displayed in these towering funnels serves as a humbling reminder of our place in the natural order. Number 17. Super Typhoon Odette. Typhoon Rai, also known as Super Typhoon Odette, wreaked havoc in the Philippines in December 2021, leaving a trail of destruction and devastation. This rare and powerful tropical cyclone made history as the first Category 5 equivalent super typhoon to form since December 2016. It became the second costliest typhoon in the Philippines' history, following the infamous Typhoon Haiyan in 2013. Rai began as a tropical disturbance near the equator and rapidly developed into a tropical depression, gradually intensifying into a tropical storm. As it approached the Philippines, Rai unexpectedly intensified into a Category 5 super typhoon just before making landfall. The storm pounded several provinces, causing heavy rainfall, strong winds, and widespread flooding. Many areas lost electricity and communication services, leaving communities isolated and in dire need of assistance. The island of Bohol was hit particularly hard, with the storm described as one of the worst ever experienced in the province. Surigao City and other regions also suffered severe damage, with buildings destroyed, power lines down, and water supplies contaminated. The reported death toll in various provinces includes 111 in Bohol, 96 in Cebu, 74 in Negros Oriental, 45 in Negros Occidental, 28 in Southern Leyte, 22 in Palawan, 18 in Surigao del Norte, 14 in Dinagat Islands, and 1 in Leyte, totaling 409 casualties. Further assessments by the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council indicated that at least 12 people had lost their lives, and 7 were reported missing. The typhoon resulted in extensive damages, with Surigao estimating losses of around $401 million, while the Dinagat Islands reported severe destruction, with 95% of houses losing their roofs. The storm caused widespread power outages in the Visayas region, affecting almost all of Visayas, and resulted in significant agricultural damage in Negros Occidental. A total of 332,000 people were evacuated from their homes, and it is estimated that 13 million people were affected in some way by the typhoon. The destruction caused by Typhoon Odette included the destruction of houses, infrastructure damage, flooding, and disruption of essential services such as electricity, water supply, and communication signals. Number 16. Rainstorms on repeat. Devastation strikes as Brazil's coastal towns face a watery onslaught. The start of 2023 brought relentless downpours and chaos as record-breaking rainfall drenched São Paulo's richest state. During the Brazilian Carnival holiday, a staggering 682 millimeters of rain poured down in just 24 hours, unleashing deadly floods and landslides. Tragically, 64 lives were lost, with São Sebastião bearing the brunt of the devastation. These coastal communities, nestled amidst majestic mountains, witnessed nature's fury firsthand. Bertioga, near São Sebastião, shattered records with its torrential downpour, eclipsing the country's previous record. Meteorologists hint at this being one of the world's most extreme non-tropical cyclone rainfalls. The region, known for its picturesque beaches surrounded by mountains, was forced to cancel carnival festivities as rescue teams scrambled to save lives. The torrential rains led to homes being submerged, leaving only rooftops visible. Desperate residents resorted to using small boats to transport people and belongings to higher ground. The challenging terrain and damaged roads hampered rescue efforts, with access to several areas proving difficult. São Sebastião's mayor, Felipe Augusto, described the situation as chaotic, with around 50 houses collapsing due to landslides. As the nation mourned the devastating loss of life, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva emphasized the need to relocate residents living in hillside areas to safer regions. The government declared a state of emergency for the most affected cities, enabling the allocation of funds for relief efforts. Plans for reconstruction, including bridges, public buildings, and housing units, are already underway. Despite the heartbreaking surprise nature dealt, Brazil remains resilient, determined to rebuild and overcome this calamity. 15. Devastating earthquake destroys Turkey. In the early hours of February 6, 2023, a powerful earthquake measuring magnitude 7.8 struck southern and central Turkey, as well as northern and western Syria. The epicenter of the earthquake was located approximately 37 kilometers west-northwest of Gaziantep. The intensity of the earthquake reached a maximum Mercalli intensity of 12, extreme, near the epicenter and in Antalya. Later in the day, another significant earthquake measuring magnitude 7.7 occurred, with its epicenter located 95 kilometers north-northeast of the initial quake. The earthquake caused a whopping 50,783 deaths, with 297 people reported missing and 107,000 injured. The impact was widespread, affecting around 16 million individuals and 4 million buildings. Approximately 345,000 apartments were destroyed, and more than 2 million residents were evacuated to nearby provinces. The earthquake had severe consequences for Turkey's agriculture production, with over 20% of the country's output affected. Crops, livestock, fisheries, aquaculture, and rural infrastructure suffered heavy damage. The destruction extended to various sectors, including education, as 516 university buildings were affected, with 106 of them being heavily damaged. The recovery and reconstruction efforts faced numerous challenges. Inspections revealed that 164,000 buildings were either destroyed or severely damaged, and an additional 150,000 commercial structures suffered moderate damage. The International Organization for Migration estimated that over 2.7 million people were left homeless. The Turkish government identified more than 60,000 buildings that needed to be demolished, further adding to the scale of the disaster. Tragic accounts emerged from the affected regions, including mass burials for thousands of victims, damaged infrastructure, and the discovery of body parts amidst the rubble. The earthquake also had a significant impact on neighboring Syria, with over 8,000 deaths and almost 15,000 injuries reported. In response to the catastrophe, Turkey appealed for international aid and received support from numerous countries. The government deployed 25,000 search and rescue personnel to the affected areas, while 70 countries offered assistance. The road to recovery remains long and arduous as the affected communities strive to rebuild and heal from the immense devastation caused by the earthquake. Number 14. Floods in Nigeria. The devastating floods that occurred in Nigeria in 2022 had a profound impact on the country. According to data from the federal government, over 1.4 million people were displaced, more than 600 lives were lost, and over 2,400 individuals were injured. The floods also resulted in the damage of around 82,000 houses and affected around 333,000 hectares of land. These floods were the worst to hit Nigeria since the 2012 floods, and they were attributed to heavy rainfall, climate change, and the release of water from the Lagdo Dam in neighboring Cameroon. The flooding affected Nigeria, Niger, Chad, and the surrounding region, lasting from early summer to October. The consequences of the floods were devastating. Over 200,000 homes were completely or partially destroyed, and a boat accident on the Niger River caused an additional 76 deaths. The floods also led to a cholera outbreak and contaminated water sources, resulting in at least 64 deaths. Agricultural land was destroyed, fuel supplies were disrupted, and food prices increased by 23%. The United Nations warned of a high risk of catastrophic hunger levels in Nigeria, with millions of people facing food insecurity and malnutrition. The flooding was exacerbated by factors such as indiscriminate construction on floodplains, poor drainage systems, and lax enforcement of environmental laws. The Nigerian government faced criticism for not acting promptly despite warnings about the impending floods. Several states in Nigeria were severely affected, including Anambra, Adamawa, Jigawa, Kogi, Niger, and Yobe. Internally displaced persons camps were set up to provide shelter and support to flood victims. Number 13. Wildfires in Algeria. Devastating wildfires wreaked havoc in Algeria's Kabylia region in August 2021, leaving a trail of destruction and claiming over 70 lives. The fires have ravaged 13 prefectures, including Tizi Ouzou, Bouira, Sétif, and Béjaïa. In response to this catastrophic situation, the Algerian government urgently sought assistance from the international community, including the European Union Civil Protection Mechanism. Tragically, even members of the People's National Army, deployed as firefighters, lost their lives while heroically rescuing over 100 people in the affected areas. The fires have caused immense damage and posed severe risks to the environment and public safety. To combat this crisis, Algeria launched a national tree planting campaign, aiming to restore the affected governorates with 19 million trees. However, the aftermath of the wildfires presents new challenges. The provision of safe drinking water, sanitation, and hygiene supplies to affected populations is crucial to prevent health outbreaks. Additionally, the scorching temperatures and heat waves pose a significant risk, particularly to vulnerable groups such as the elderly, children, pregnant women, and those with respiratory illnesses. Number 12. Hurricane Fiona. Unleashing its fury upon the Atlantic, Hurricane Fiona roared as a formidable Category 4 tempest, etching its name in the annals of history. This colossal storm proved to be the costliest and most intense tropical cyclone ever to strike Canada, leaving behind a trail of destruction and despair. In Guadeloupe, record-breaking rainfall cast a sinister shadow, plunging 40% of the population into a waterless plight. Meanwhile, Puerto Rico, still haunted by the memories of Hurricane Maria, witnessed its worst flooding in years, accompanied by a grim island-wide blackout. Tragically, at least 25 lives were lost, and a third of the island's inhabitants were left without access to clean water. The Dominican Republic and the Turks and Caicos Islands were not spared from Fiona's wrath either, as relentless rains and fierce winds pummeled their shores, plunging these territories into darkness and inundating them with floodwaters. Fiona's impact on Canada was equally unprecedented, with its record-breaking atmospheric pressure and astonishing rainfall, making it one of the wettest cyclones ever recorded in the country. The toll of Hurricane Fiona reverberated throughout the Caribbean and Canada, claiming the lives of at least 31 individuals and leaving countless communities devastated. In the aftermath, search and rescue teams embarked on a painstaking mission to locate missing persons, their efforts spanning weeks of tireless work. But amidst the chaos, glimmers of hope emerged. United in compassion, nations rallied to provide aid and support. United States President Joe Biden declared a state of emergency, mobilizing resources and offering assistance. Rebuilding will be a monumental task, but united we stand, resilient and determined. Number 11. Drought in Jiangxi. In the heart of China, a dire situation unfolds as Jiangxi Province faces an unprecedented water crisis. Poyang Lake, the nation's largest, has shrunk to alarming levels, prompting Jiangxi to issue a red alert for its water supply, a first in its history. Over the past 3 months, the lake's water levels have plummeted from 19.43 meters to a mere 7.1 meters, leaving the region parched. And the situation is poised to worsen, with forecasts predicting further decline as rainfall remains elusive. This prolonged drought has wreaked havoc on the Yangtze River basin, impeding hydropower generation and stunting the growth of vital crops essential for the upcoming harvest. The absence of rain has cast a shadow over Jiangxi for over 70 agonizing days, leaving the land desperate for relief. While southwest China has seen some respite from heavy rainfall, the central regions continue to suffer. In neighboring Anhui Province, 10 reservoirs have reached critically low levels, unable to provide downstream relief. As the middle and lower reaches of the mighty Yangtze River grapple with drought conditions, urgent measures are needed. Cloud seeding and water diversion efforts are underway, as authorities work tirelessly to alleviate the crisis, but will have to wait and watch if Mother Nature allows the relief to this region. Number 10. Wildfire wreaks havoc in Antalya. In the scorching summer of 2021, Turkey faced an unprecedented catastrophe as a relentless wave of wildfires engulfed the Mediterranean region, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. These infernos, the most severe in the country's history, ravaged over 1,700 square kilometers of precious forests, shattering the nation's spirit. The devastating wildfires erupted in the sweltering heat of Manavgat, Antalya Province on July 28th, amidst temperatures soaring above 37 degrees Celsius. As the flames grew fierce, they spread their wrath across the land, defying all efforts to contain them. Even as August dawned, 2 fires continued to rage on in Mugla, a haunting reminder of the havoc unleashed upon Turkey. These catastrophic blazes were part of a larger crisis, with neighboring Greece also battling infernos. The culprit? A scorching heat wave fueled by the ominous specter of climate change. While wildfires are not uncommon in Turkey's Mediterranean and Aegean regions during summer, the situation was exacerbated by the hottest May in over half a century, followed by a drought attributed to climate change. Efforts to combat the wildfires were valiant, but faced immense challenges. Thousands of firefighters, armed with courage and determination, fought tirelessly alongside helicopters, planes, drones, and a fleet of water tenders and bulldozers. Yet the fires raged on relentlessly, hindered by limited access to affected areas and the constraints of daylight. As the nation grappled with the aftermath, the wounds ran deep. Lives were lost, farm animals perished, and forests were reduced to charred landscapes. Despite political divisions, calls for assistance resonated, with opposition parties joining forces to offer financial support for firefighting aircraft. Number 9. Category 5 Hurricane. In a catastrophic display of nature's fury, Hurricane Ian emerged as a formidable Category 5 monster, leaving behind a trail of destruction and heartache. This record-breaking tempest stands as the 3rd costliest weather disaster ever recorded, shattering lives and landscapes in its path. Florida, long accustomed to the wrath of hurricanes, faced its deadliest storm since the infamous 1935 Labor Day hurricane. With unrelenting force, Ian unleashed its fury upon the Sunshine State, forever etching its name in the annals of Florida's tempestuous history. The hurricane's unyielding power made it the strongest to strike Florida since the devastating Hurricane Michael in 2018. But Florida was not alone in suffering Ian's wrath. Western Cuba and the Carolinas faced widespread damage as the hurricane tore through their territories, leaving a wake of destruction and despair. Ian's might was unmatched, making it the first Category 5 hurricane in the Atlantic since Lorenzo in 2019, a testament to the increasing intensity of these deadly storms. As the clock struck 8:30 on September 27th, Ian made its devastating landfall on western Cuba as a high-end Category 3 hurricane. With sustained winds reaching a ferocious 205 kilometers per hour and a pressure of 947 millibar, the impact was catastrophic. Pinar del Rio Province, still reeling from memories of Hurricane Gustav in 2008, bore the brunt of Ian's fury. The region suffered extensive damage as homes crumbled and lives were forever altered. In the aftermath of the onslaught, Cuba was plunged into darkness as Ian's wrath toppled the power grid, leaving 11 million people without electricity. The sheer scale of the power outage, coupled with a nationwide blackout, ignited waves of protest as the Cuban people demanded restoration of power and access to the internet. The plight of the nation caught the attention of the world, prompting emergency assistance requests and acts of solidarity from nations far and wide. With resolve and resilience, the Cuban people, alongside international aid, began the arduous task of rebuilding their shattered lives. Assistance poured in from the United States, the European Union, Argentina, and Japan, a testament to the global unity in the face of such adversity. Number 8. Afghanistan shook by earthquake. A relentless force of nature, an earthquake of magnitude 6.2 rocked southeastern Afghanistan on that fateful day of June 2022, leaving a path of unimaginable destruction in its wake. The tremors, originating from a depth of 4 kilometers, unleashed chaos and despair, shattering lives and communities in an instant. The provinces of Paktika and Khost in Afghanistan, as well as parts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in Pakistan, bore the brunt of this seismic catastrophe. The impact was felt far and wide, reaching over 500 kilometers away, affecting a staggering 119 million people. From the fertile plains of Punjab in Pakistan to the vibrant streets of India and Iran, the tremors sent shockwaves of fear through the hearts of millions. Tragically, the toll of this disaster was severe. With almost 1,100 lives lost and around 3,000 individuals injured, Afghanistan and Pakistan were left reeling from the aftermath. The provinces of Paktika, Paktia, Khost, and Nangarhar faced unimaginable devastation, with homes collapsing and entire communities shattered. Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa also suffered casualties and destruction, as the earthquake's shallow hypocenter and the region's vulnerable infrastructure compounded the disaster's impact. Aftershocks continued to haunt the survivors, exacerbating their anguish. 1 hour after the initial quake, a 4.5 magnitude aftershock sent ripples of fear through the shaken land. The toll of these subsequent tremors added to the already staggering numbers, with additional lives lost and homes reduced to rubble. As the affected communities grappled with the overwhelming scale of the tragedy, international assistance poured in. Aid arrived from the United States, the European Union, Argentina, and Japan, offering a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. Yet challenges remained, with poor construction practices and substandard building materials exacerbating the devastating consequences. Homeless survivors sought refuge wherever they could, while communities rallied together to support those in need. Organizations like Care International and Save the Children tirelessly provided medical aid, highlighting the urgent need for shelter and health care in the wake of this natural disaster. Number 7. Sudden sinkhole. Florida, known for its picturesque landscapes and vibrant communities, harbors a hidden danger beneath its seemingly stable surface. Sinkholes, the harbingers of chaos, occasionally thrust the state into the national spotlight. On that fateful day of July 14, 2017, a colossal sinkhole emerged in Land O' Lakes, a peaceful community just north of Tampa in Pasco County, sending shockwaves of concern throughout the region. Initially appearing beneath a boat, the sinkhole swiftly grew into a massive chasm, resembling a small swimming pool in size. In a mere half an hour, the sinkhole expanded to an astonishing width of over 200 feet, capable of devouring 2 houses. Its depth, estimated at 50 feet, proved challenging to perceive in images, camouflaged by water and a floating film of dirt and debris. As the sinkhole consumed the neighboring homes, at least 9 other residences stood on the precipice of peril. Evacuations ensued, ensuring the safety of those residing nearby. Regrettably, the occupants of the two original houses lost their cherished belongings to the relentless void. By July 15, it appeared that the sinkhole's growth had ceased, providing a glimmer of respite. However, 5 homes within a 20-mile radius of the sinkhole were deemed unsafe, casting a shadow of uncertainty over the community. 4 other homes received permission for entry, granting their inhabitants a glimpse into their precious sanctuaries. Experts anticipated a lengthy repair process, spanning weeks or even months, as repair crews, faced with a hazmat situation, navigated the treacherous task of stabilizing the sinkhole and clearing the debris-laden waters. Yet, the sinkhole's insatiable appetite persisted, condemning an additional 5 nearby homes to an uncertain fate. On August 4, during the cleanup efforts, chunks of the sinkhole's edges collapsed, further endangering neighboring properties. By August 7, a total of 7 homes had been condemned, casualties of the sinkhole's voracious expansion. The causes behind this relentless growth remained elusive, with seismic vibrations and past sinkhole activity in the area emerging as potential culprits. Efforts to stabilize the sinkhole through the deposition of crushed limestone and thorough cleaning were temporarily halted. Ground-penetrating radar tests became necessary to assess the stability of the sinkhole and its surroundings. Though the sinkhole underwent cleansing, the residents of the area remained plagued by apprehension, mindful of the lurking menace beneath their feet. Number 6. Mount Everest, hit by an earthquake. On April 25, 2015, Nepal and its neighboring countries experienced an unprecedented earthquake with a magnitude of 7.8. This seismic upheaval triggered a devastating avalanche on Mount Everest, making it the deadliest disaster in the mountain's history. The avalanche, originating from Pumori, crashed into the Everest base camp, claiming the lives of at least 22 people and causing immense destruction. Around 700 to 1,000 individuals were present on or near the mountain at the time, including more than 350 climbers stationed at base camp. Multiple avalanches were unleashed by the earthquake, altering the landscape of the mountain. Despite the chaos, an Indian Army mountaineering team courageously embarked on a mission to recover bodies and rescue stranded climbers. They managed to save 61 climbers and retrieve the remains of 19 fallen climbers. Helicopters were later deployed for further rescue operations, evacuating severely injured climbers to Feriche village, where a makeshift hospital provided crucial medical assistance. In the aftermath, the death toll rose, with a total of 24 confirmed deaths, including 10 Nepalese Sherpas and 5 foreign climbers. Among the victims was Google executive Dan Fredenberg, who had been on a mapping expedition for a future Google Earth project. The tragedy deeply affected the world of technology. The events of that fateful day and its aftermath serve as a stark reminder of the unpredictable and dangerous nature of Mount Everest and the risks faced by climbers and those living in its vicinity. Now it's time for the subscriber's pick. This picture of what seems like a sinkhole was sent to us by a loyal subscriber. It looks like Mother Nature got angry this time, and luckily this terrifying scene was caught on camera so we could share it with you. It seems from the image that a sinkhole appeared in the middle of a devastating flood that had already engulfed whatever had come in its path. Mother Nature sure can be powerful, as we have seen so far. Number 5. Slope collapses in Japan. On August 10, 2004, a massive disaster struck Oto, Nara, Japan, as a towering slope collapsed, swallowing up a national highway. But thanks to early detection and swift action, tragedy was averted. Months before the catastrophe, cracks appeared on the roadside slope, serving as ominous warning signs. Extensometers diligently monitored the slope's movements, revealing a shift from secondary to tertiary creep, triggered by the relentless rainfall of Typhoon Namtheon. Acting on this data, the highway was smartly closed 43 hours before the calamity, preempting any potential loss of life. The key to successful predictions? The reciprocal of creep velocity proves more accurate than tertiary creep analysis. And that's not all. As the slope gave way, ground-shaking vibrations rippled through the area, offering valuable insights into the dynamics of a rock-slide avalanche. This groundbreaking discovery of 4 distinct stages in seismic energy radiation sheds new light on understanding such disasters. Oto, Nara may have faced a colossal challenge, but its vigilant response set a shining example for disaster preparedness. Number 4. Floods ruin Henan Province in China. Tragedy struck China's Henan Province as relentless rainfall unleashed devastating floods in July 2021. Zhengzhou, the provincial capital, faced a historic downpour with 201 millimeters of rain in just 1 hour, setting a record since 1951. The floods wreaked havoc, causing more than 300 reported deaths and leaving over 50 people missing. Shockingly, investigations later revealed that the death toll had been intentionally underreported, bringing the true count to 398. A staggering 14.5 million people were affected. The floods also led to the evacuation of more than 800,000 individuals. Multiple factors contributed to the severity of the floods, including atmospheric pressure systems, weak upper-level winds, and the impact of climate change. The deluge overwhelmed not only Zhengzhou but also other areas, with rivers overflowing, factories exploding, and villages being submerged. In the aftermath, rescue and relief operations were prioritized, and donations poured in from both Chinese companies and individuals. The tragedy prompted calls for improved flood control measures and emergency preparedness. An official investigation exposed the deliberate underreporting of deaths, resulting in arrests and disciplinary actions against officials involved. Number 3. Wakari eruption. Wakari, White Island, known as the dramatic volcano, is a captivating yet dangerous force of nature. Located off the coast of New Zealand's North Island, this active andesite stratovolcano has been continuously shaping its landscape for over 150,000 years. Standing as the country's most active cone volcano, it has been releasing volcanic gas since its discovery in 1769. In December 2019, tragedy struck when Wakari unleashed a devastating eruption. 47 individuals were on the island at the time, and the eruption claimed the lives of 22 people. The aftermath was chaotic, with survivors suffering severe injuries and burns. Despite recovery efforts, the bodies of 2 victims were never found, possibly lost to the unforgiving sea. Experts classified the eruption as a phreatic event, a steam and gas explosion propelling rocks and ash into the sky. The area experienced ongoing seismic and volcanic activity, compounded by heavy rainfall, toxic gases, and limited visibility, hindering rescue operations. Number 2. Indonesia, struck by tsunami. In a devastating event on December 22, 2018, the Sunda Strait tsunami struck the coastal regions of Banten and Lampung in Indonesia. Triggered by the collapse of the southwestern side of Anak Krakatoa, the tsunami wreaked havoc on popular tourist spots like Anyer. The timing of the disaster, during the Christmas and New Year holiday season, coupled with the lack of warnings and the darkness of night, contributed to a significant loss of life. With 426 fatalities, this volcanic tsunami became the deadliest of its kind in recorded Indonesian history since the Sunda Strait tsunami of 1883, which also originated from the same island. The catastrophe prompted the installation of emergency early warning systems in tsunami-prone areas, aimed at detecting disturbances in water levels caused by volcanic activity or undersea landslides. The eruption of Anak Krakatoa and the subsequent collapse resulted in the reduction of the volcano's height and triggered the catastrophic wave. Beaches frequented by tourists, including Tanjung Lesung, were severely affected, and the tragedy struck during the peak holiday season. The tsunami caught concertgoers by surprise, with the popular band 17 witnessing tragedy firsthand. Numerous villas, hotels, and structures were damaged or destroyed, leaving behind a trail of devastation. Number 1. A mining site tragedy. A tragic incident occurred on July 2, 2020, when heavy rains triggered a major landslide at Myanmar's Wakari jade mining site, resulting in the deaths of approximately 175 to 200 miners. These workers, known as jade pickers, were buried under a 20-foot wave of mud and water. Despite a prior warning against mining due to the rainfall, many miners disregarded it. The jade industry in Myanmar, responsible for supplying a significant portion of the world's jade, has a history of fatal accidents. The previous accident that occurred in these mines took the lives of 116 people. The recovery efforts in the July 2020 incident were hampered by ongoing heavy rains. This deadliest mining accident underscores the pressing need for improved safety measures in the industry. The local government did respond with many promises of making reforms in the jade mining industry, but the activists in the area claim that little has been done in practice to make the mines safer for the laborers. Just one day prior to the accident, authorities had issued warnings against mining in the area because of the heavy rainfall. However, this warning was ignored by many. According to the Myanmar Fire Services, the open-pit mine owned by a local business conglomerate was actually inactive. News reports further revealed that the workers at the Wakari site were actively freelancing scavengers who were scouring the tailings of the mine. We hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one.